Last time on Kakumei, the wizard Doola met his end at the hands of Broly after the villain decided he was going to sacrifice himself to take out the entire planet. Like many self-destructions in the series, this one was also met with failure as the brutish Saiyan was able to finish him off before he could enact his plan. Now, we're left with only the God of Destruction Amaron and what appears to be Ultra Instinct Vegeta. As Vegeta emanates with that familiar aura, raw power surging through him is unmistakable. It's a force that resonates with the very essence of his being, tapping into a realm of strength previously thought unreachable. Though, like every other obstacle placed before the prince, he has overcome this one too. Vegeta has tapped into the power that up until now only his biggest rival and the angels themselves have been able to summon. He knows that he still has too little control over this power, so he's not sure if it's going to be enough against this opponent. But if he thinks he can get away with committing such a massive massacre, he's got another thing coming. He must surely know that doing this is quite the gamble, but what other choice is there? The Destroyer, whose face is barely recognizable beneath the remnants of a shattered mask. He contorts into a maniacal sneer as he gazes upon Vegeta. He hisses that the pressure Vegeta exudes is exactly what he's been noticing this entire fight. Now that they're here, the Saiyan has made the effort to go all out, so there's no reason for himself to hold back any longer. The Saiyan has unleashed his full potential, tapping into a reservoir of strength that rivals even the most formidable of opponents. There's no denying the gravity of the situation. This is what their entire battle has been leading up to. Just the statement the prince was expecting to hear. He's essentially been making fun of them from the start. He's merely been toying with them. The villain bellows that it's the one who shows the greatest foresight who emerges victorious in the end. Just as Ultra Instinct is expected to do, Vegeta effortlessly dodges and counters his enemy's attack. Who thinks to himself, his movements, his aura, and that calmness. Though his ki barrier ergonomically absorbs blows, so he doesn't believe he's going to be getting past his defense today. When he notices something. Vegeta, he's not moving anymore. Why is he stopped? Found a flaw? That's when Amaron launches his destruction powers. But with his Hakai failing, he shouts, "No, what's the point of all this power if it's rendered ineffective?" He doesn't understand. Our protagonist takes note that he seems to be able to use this destruction technique in the same way Lord Beerus or that guy from the Tournament of Power did. Top, of course. Looking back, what he just did may be more in the vein of what Frieza did to Goku using the borrowed energy of destruction right before the Tournament of Power. With a grimace, Amaron can tell that he's already faced this kind of attack. Is he wrong? No, he declares. I'm never wrong. Rushing back to fight, the prince is able to envision the trajectory of all his attacks, all the possible scenarios, and find the one which favors him the most. He's able to not only dodge the ki blasts, but dodge in such a way that it sets him up most optimally for the next blast and the next evasion. This might even be working towards putting him in the right place to land his next attack. However, the Destroyer notices that even when scanning him, he doesn't even seem to know himself what he is doing. He hasn't mastered anything at all, and he is still forced to pause and think of all of the possible courses of action. That is his flaw. He knows he has to multiply the possible options so that it doesn't give him too much free time to spot his own flaw. During this time, when he is vulnerable and searching, he can strike back. It's a real-life game of poker. This may be exactly what each of the warriors are thinking. At this point in the battle, both fighters are still more than capable of delivering a deadly blow, but warned enough that each mistake could be their last. thinking he has the perfect timing. He's able to deliver a gut punch to Sadala's final hope. He bluntly explains that this power, when not mastered, is full of flaws. But the Saiyan is far too dangerous. It's not this simple sequence that'll take him down. So he implores his adversary to go ahead, attack him. This could also be Amaron using his vast knowledge of the universe to deduce that Ultra Instinct, while still in the lower levels of understanding, is more dangerous on defense than on offense. So he's trying to lure in his foe to give himself a slightly increased advantage. Frustrated, but not losing his resolve. Amaron takes this pause as the opportunity to provoke him, quickly rushing away and blasting the remaining Saiyan soldiers while cackling.
Too slow! Come on, Vegeta! Give it your all! It is the fight of your life!
Admiral Lariak, almost frozen, he thinks to himself, this demon is slaughtering our people before our very eyes. And we're here, powerless. He calls himself miserable, feeling he is a failure as a leader of his people. From this point, they can only count on Vegeta, though the emptiness and pain inside of him are indescribable. One can only imagine how he feels. Mere months, weeks ago, he was considered by many to be a top 10 warrior on this entire planet. Now he's been delegated to a mere spectator. Reacting to the Destroyer's slight, could Vegeta's anger be detrimental to controlling his Ultra Instinct? This is exactly what the villain wanted. He questions if he can see that he's forcing him to obey his whim. Changing trajectory mid-attack. The deity knows he doesn't have time to adjust. Well played, Prince. Booting him in the face. The God of Destruction exhales that each of his strokes are so precise, so impactful. Pretty sure that's supposed to be strikes, but I'm not judging the man either way. Vegeta has made him lose a lot of his strength. It is true, but he's not going to complain. On the other hand, the time he takes to concentrate on the technique before each of his rushes towards him is so important that he can't necessarily take the risk every time, given what he's just done as example. But our hero just wants to get down to the facts. Don't waste his time with a senseless jabber. Continuing.
And yet, with this power, you've ventured into the territory of the gods, and you're going to die by my hand. The irony has come full circle.
From his perspective, it's rather amusing that a mortal who uses the technique of the gods will himself have to be cut down by a god. His opponent scoffs. Your body is screaming at you to stop. Blood is coming out of every direction. You're the one in a weak position, God of Destruction. Snarling, he beckons.
Do you think so?
Appearing to use a gravity wall to suck the Saiyans into a giant pile. Even the prince doesn't know exactly what to do in this situation. Rushing again and screaming for him to stop. He's taken off guard by Amaron's hook and chain.
Get over here!
But grabbing it, Vegeta barks back.
No! You're my prey!
Trying to charge a mouth blast and hit him point blank. It looks like Vegeta may be tapped out. Astonished, the Destroyer thinks that it seems to him the power of this Kikoa is not up to the same level of power that he was only 10 minutes ago. Vegeta can't take this anymore. Sure enough, his aura is gone. He's fallen back to his regular state. All the lesser Saiyans, for all we know, are dead. At least anyone with a name has managed to survive. Even if on their last leg. And for those who aren't gravely wounded, they're too exhausted to fight at this point. Broly points out that he can't move his body and Kale is still lying unconscious. King Sadala gazes forward and explains how Vegeta used a mysterious power, but he hadn't mastered it 100%. The backlash from this is terrible. And if we remember the impact this had on Goku when he first used it against Jiren, we can only expect Vegeta is in just as bad of shape. Placing his foot literally on his enemy's head. Is this really the end of the Universe 6 Saiyans, of Planet Sadala, and of course Vegeta? Does this segment of our story end not with our heroes miraculously being able to overcome this adversary, but instead the villain taking this as another preemptive victory in the multiversal war that is technically still yet to even begin?